now we're on to this podcast, Iris of RI number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm still the host, Zycon Ebmaflo, and today I'm sitting down with Dylan Huybrechts.
Yeah.
Dude, that definitely sounds like there's an AX in there, dude, but I'm thinking of like Skrillex, even though it's an EX, or the evil dude from Ben 10. Can't think of his name, but I know that sounded like an axe.
Yeah, some bizarre lat or something.
Yeah. Viltrumites from Incredibles or Invincible. But
whole lot
of mumbo jumbo for a whole lot of much. What I'm saying, what I'm rambling about. Artists, me, you, we're doing this because how we met, I guess, is normally the introduction part. I'm like, I felt like very much concise and concentrated, and now I'm like, feel very like scatterbrained. Like, oh god, we're recording. Oh no.
I know. When the camera hits, sometimes it feels like that.
Sometimes. I know I met Sunny originally, which is Dylan's. I'm gonna say the gendered sex word of.
It's my girlfriend.
Girlfriend, yeah. I'm just gonna say it. The thought police be damned. Originally, I saw a flyer, and she was doing her thing when she had the art studio over there on B Street. But then I don't really remember how we, like, connected. I know I think I definitely came here, and you were here, I think. We're in Sunny and Dylan's beautiful space, apartment.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really exactly remember how, and that's unfortunate. But it is what it is. And to my knowledge, I don't know if I said it or I'm going to edit it out or not, so I'll re-say it. Of like, you make beats, you're helping me with my mixtape, you're a rapper. No, cat, I love you, but damn it, I didn't take the other chair just because I wanted to.
No, he's interested now.
No, he's like, hey,
this whole situation.
Well, yeah, dude, what's going on? First time that I'm recording with animals in the room, so hopefully they don't go too crazy. Love you guys. Shit, dude, yeah, rapper, beat maker. Is there any other forms of art that you would define yourself as, or if you want to try to do the introduction better than I just did, because I'm still like talking and rambling, but
that's weird, dude. Yeah, T3RU. I just love hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Yeah, it's just cool, man. Play it cool. So the 5 facets of hip hop are beatboxing, MCing, graffiti art, breakdancing, and DJing. So I love doing all those things.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's 4 more. Street entrepreneurship, street fashion, street talk, street lingo, and oh man, I'm so close. I was almost there.
Dude, you're 8 out of 9. That's pretty fucking solid. I didn't know most of those anyway.
Yeah, and there's one more. I can't remember, but there's 9 facets, 5 main facets of hip hop, and I'm mostly into the first 5. I'm not really an entrepreneur. I mean,
not yet. Don't rule it out.
I know about lingo, you know what I'm saying, and I like to have good fashion, but that's not even something I take into consideration. I just kind of throw shit on. I'm just like, oh yeah, that looks cool, you know.
For me, comfort is like crucial. Like,
exactly.
It's just the whole like, unless I'm literally wearing like sweats 24/7.
Right.
If I'm not dressing to like make an impact or if the situation doesn't allow me to, like, if it's like an ayahuasca ceremony, gotta wear all white. Like I don't. I do have a one white sweatshirt, but
right.
Dress to impress or to be, I don't even know, like culturally sensitive or something. I don't even know if that's the right way to say it.
Well, yeah, it's like going to church. You just want to be looking nice, presenting yourself.
Yeah, presentable. Even. I do like the idea of the street entrepreneurship though, because I need to do that in Mexico probably pretty hard. Like setting my random little like easel up in a pop-up table, selling the bracelets and like the book and the energy readings, like a whole like tea. Like, I just got a bunch of different things all going on at once. So like the cool people who like see me and they're like, "The fuck are you doing here, bro?" Like, I'm here for you, homie. Like,
yeah. If you're not hyping yourself up, you got to have somebody hype you up, because you know,
MC
that's
hype man.
That's how value starts. Exactly.
Yeah,
MC needs a hype man.
Is the MC not the hype man? Is the MC because like
no, MC is the MC and then the hype man is the hype man. It's 2 different jobs.
Two different jobs.
I mean, nowadays everybody's taking everything at once just to be their job. So everybody wants to be the producer, the MC, the hype man, the guy who puts everything. You know what I'm saying? It's like you almost have to be. But back in the day, all of those things were separate.
Yeah.
Like even for DJs, like, you know, there would be the selecta who would go through and select the records,
Mm-hmm.
and then there would be the actual DJ who was like playing them, and that was a separate job. Everything was so much more compartmentalized back in the day.
Wow.
For everything.
I mean, that's got to be technology making it easier to do all of those things faster, I would think, on some level.
Yeah, but also skills evolve, and of
Mhm.
course you learn if you learn watching two people do that job, you're like, oh, I can do both those things.
Sure.
And then somebody learns from that guy doing both those things and said, I can tighten that up even tighter, you know?
Sure, yeah.
But it's stress. It's a lot of stress.
Bro, preach, man. Like,
Yeah.
I was writing my book. I only got like 15 minutes on the fucking, the docket today, or on the record book of the little thing that I, like, type out, like, how I'm feeling beforehand, how I'm feeling after, and the amount of time that I wrote. What the fuck is that called? Like an Excel spreadsheet, a Google spreadsheet, whatever. And, like, my gosh, it has to do, because I got all this other stuff I'm trying to do today. And it's normally the habits to try to write for longer, but that's not the art we're talking about right now. I'm trying to talk about art, your perspective.
Everything is an art,
Everything.
especially being structured and organized.
Yeah, you don't want to be a fucking a Nazi, but like, because then you go too far to the extreme. But
Yeah.
you don't want to be a fucking, I don't even know what the opposite of a Nazi is, dude. But in that context, but whatever the completely like, I guess like a couch potato, you're just totally slobbing and
Totally
have no structure at all.
apathetic and
Yeah.
indifferent, yeah.
Yeah. But that being said, we'll get into the actual main first question now that we've been spitballing, freestyling, improv in here for a little bit now. What is art to you, T3RU?
Art. What is art? What is art, man? Art imitates life. And life is art. I don't know. It's like trees, like, just kind of just expressing themselves to the sun, you know? And it's like the sun is like, yeah, do your thing, tree, you know? The sun is like the ultimate hype man, you know? And everything else is like, yeah, you're right, like getting all the energy from the hype man.
Yeah.
Just chill out, Shiloh.
The sun's hyping him up too much.
Yeah, well, I gotta be his hype down man.
Yeah, the bouncer being like, yo, dog, like,
Yeah, the chill out.
Yeah.
I gotta be the chill out guy. Everything's an art form, man. And especially what you love to do. It's like what you don't like to do is what you have to be artful about.
Okay.
But what you do like to do is hopefully what everybody will recognize you for.
That's a great way to put it, dude. I love that this question is just like, I've never yet to get the exact same answer twice.
Yeah.
Every person, the quote that I love is like, we're all, the one thing that makes us all the same is that we're completely unique. I don't know where my friend got it from, but he told it to me, and it's stuck in my brain for forever now, and I love repeating it because it's just perfect. Like, oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, right.
Yeah. That trips me out. That definitely trips me out. You want to find the thread through everything because nothing is the same. Nothing is the same.
Yeah, it's so every moment is unique. This one's a combination of stuff, but I put it together, and hopefully people will attribute it to me after I'm no longer breathing on the earth, or under the sun, I should say. But that every moment is unique, every day is the same, and everything is historic. It's just like a weird combination of like things that I think are all true simultaneously, and kind of weird and convoluted and confusing. But I don't know if it's artsy or not. But
what was the first one? Every what?
Every moment is unique.
Every day is the same.
Every day is the same, and everything is historic.
Yeah, it has something to do with art.
Maybe it might be poetic. I might just be tune my own horn a little bit. So we can just get back to you, because you're the guest. Why are you an artist?
Oh man, it seemed more fun than anything else, I guess.
For the Fukenschlaust of it, just for the
Yeah, for the Fukenschlaust.
Fukenschlaust, yeah, that's I learned that one in free play. I don't remember the author's name. I'll probably put the book right here for the viewers, and then you'll actually know who the author is. but that word is like a German like concept of you just doing it to cause an effect. Like you have no, it's like you're just being causal. There's no like intention of like, which actually perfectly leads into the next question is, or the next thing we can talk about is like what's your it's the Aristotelian like telos is technically probably you're supposed to say, but I like to say telos instead of being. I mean, not instead of, but on top of, or I guess almost taking from a complete other Zoroastrological perspective of like instead of coming at it from just causing an effect, what is your the end goal or the end function of like your art?
Right. Why and where is it going?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a deep question, dude. I mean, I guess the real easy and shallow answer would be because it's fun and because the world needs to chill the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, shallow, geez.
I know. The whole world. What's up with, is cuss words a thing on here? Or?
I don't...
Fuckenschlaus?
Yeah, exactly, like what even? I don't personally care, but I like...
Okay, because this is Twitch, right? We're on Twitch.
Yeah, Twitch, technically, yeah, and but I'm gonna put it up on YouTube and Spotify and all the places that RSS puts it up for me automatically.
Okay. So it doesn't really. So it's.
I don't think it matters. Like it's gonna get the explicit E thing at some point.
Got you.
There's no money really exchanging hands right now, so no one really gives a fuck.
And it's never been a warning about anything. Okay, I just wanna.
There's one random like thing that Twitch started putting on because I think they like the AI like picked up that I've been talking about like psychedelics and drugs so much, so they're like this content is kind of for people who are like are aware of that's a thing, and also like kids who are like watching like video game people playing stuff aren't in the same lane as me, so.
Got you. Yeah, okay. Well then, fuck it. Yeah.
Exactly. Fuck it.
A lot of fuck it. Then, yeah, I think art. Yeah, I guess that opened up another good point. Was like, I'm doing this because it feels like, not just because it's fun, but it's because I think I gravitated toward this because this is the opposite but still acceptable end of the spectrum of being able to relate with society in its current form. Just being able to like still be a part of what's going on, but on the outskirts, you know? Sure. Because I definitely don't want to be in the middle, you know what I'm saying?
Well, do I? In the middle, like for when I hear that and it goes in my apperception and spits back out like middle of the aisle politically, I guess. But I don't know if that's really what you meant.
No. Middle of like the heart of what's going on, which is also tricky because, you know, as far as the heart of where we're headed in the future, you could think about that technologically, you could think about that politically, you could think about that as what's influencing children, you know what I mean?
Right, they're the future for sure.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is like, it's more technological and it's more, I'm talking about people in Silicon Valley, I'm talking about people in San Francisco, I'm talking about people in LA and Hollywood, you know what I mean?
Talking about like the elites and where like the people who were trying to pull the strings where they want it to go versus where we would all prefer to go.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. It's the heart of things being the mainstream, what everybody is looking at and copying. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because art imitates life, but life also imitates art, meaning that we influence each other. So it's like something, you know, because we are life as well.
Right.
As much as we want to be separate from it, we're definitely still just a part of it. So when the latest rapper does a cool new trend, I mean, that ripples throughout the whole world. And so influence spreads, but I think art is like just the best way to get across really tough ideas to explain in a direct and kind of in a less at you type of way. You know, it's like it's at me, but it's like not at me at the same time. When I'm talking to myself in a microphone with music, people will be like, start talking to themselves the way I'm talking to myself. And so if that's happening, hopefully that'll start to change the way that they're talking to themselves.
Right.
And once that happens, then people will start changing the way they talk. And everything, like Terrence McKenna said, everything is just communication.
Language, yeah.
Yeah, it's just different types of language. So why I'm doing it is because it's fun and I like to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And where I'm going with it is hopefully to be able to talk more better.
make it impact and make people level up their state of consciousness.
Yeah.
Maybe get a little spiritual with it.
A little more vocabulary, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A little more articulate in their emotional states.
No, you can't do that.
I know.
People who are gonna stay down, but the people that are like looking to like expand and grow are gonna be like, oh, thank you, new word.
Yeah, and that's always, and the thing is that's always where it goes too. I mean, every incredible new game-changing media influence in the past, at least 124 years, since
1900.
Yeah, since like the invent of newspapers, even. I mean, it was the thing that was going against the system being put in place. It was going against
disruption.
It was going against the language of tradition. It was it was challenging words being used by people who were using them rigidly.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being fluid and open, it was closed and shut down to any new ideas.
Yeah, dogma and narrative, the institutions of society generally have been that like super, like, you imagine the church during the Inquisition was like everyone who had free thought or was thinking for themselves was labeled a heretic and like tortured, because it's like they were, by even just espousing anything or saying that what the church said wasn't absolutely 111% the total truth. It's like you were planting seeds in their mind, the way that you were saying about your music and like how you want it to open and expand. Then like the people who wanted it to stay the same or holding on to the current paradigm, the people who were the next generation and like changing the paradigm, they're the ones who are like the heretics, or in our modern eras, the conspiracy theorists.
And that's always the thing that's more popular, because that's always the thing that's new. I mean, new.
Right. New to you.
Yeah, and it's never new. It's always, I mean, the more I learn about history, the more I realize that it's all been done.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the thing that's saying, no, stop, everybody look, check out what's really going on.
Right.
But it's never saying you're wrong. It's always saying, this feels so right,
mm-hmm.
And that's in a situation of freedom every time. People are being more free, people are being more open, from rock and roll to funk to, you know what I'm saying, to like hip hop now. It's like
anything that gets people to dance. Because I would never worship a god that would tell me not to dance, because like that's no fun.
Right.
Like, even if you're like just wiggling your finger how they did in the fucking like 30s or wherever that dance style came from, dude. Like, as long as you're having fun with it and you're enjoying it. And
I never heard of the wiggly finger dance.
It's like I'm thinking similar along the lines of Fairly Odd Parents. They stole it from someplace else, obviously, wherever their source material came from. And it's just like they went back in time and like the Steamboat Willie style like animation, and then like it was like him and his grandpa, or him and like an old dude or something, and the guy was like, all you gotta do is wiggle your finger. But I don't know where they like.
That's hilarious what that's referencing.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's referencing either, because they were fucking jigging in the 30s, dog. They were doing crazy dance, like swing dance. And,
yeah, dude. I mean, because they were just coming back just out of the Roaring 20s when everything was popping off before World War One, or after World War One. Yeah, all the boom and bust economy, and then the Great Depression fucking crushed everybody, and you got the sad ass cowboy blues, probably. Not like modern day blues, but similar. I'm just guessing at this point. I don't actually know how to do the research, but
I mean, where it's going is where it's been. You know what I'm saying?
it's history is it's not a, what is it?
Cycle.
This cycle? That's probably the
It's
one.
continuous. We haven't learned from it yet, so it's going to continue to repeat.
Dude, that's so true, man. It's just like you everything, because everything's like a mirror, or like mirrored and reflects back your state or your level of like awareness of yourself. Because like it's so weird. 'Cause I feel like I'm returning back to how I was as a kid. Like I never smoked weed until I was like 16 and a half. Like now I'm like 2 months and some change like sober. I haven't smoked any weed, and there's very much of just like, oh shit, this is like how I was when I was a kid. Like there's no, like the emotions are still there, but there's the crutch to like not look at it or like look away and be avoidant isn't there anymore. I have to like, just like face my life and live it, and hopefully like live the changes that I'm trying to enact, because they take like a while to like become new habits in your loop of your life.
It's so much more tough when you were older, dude.
Especially now, the older I get, the more I realize the things that I was told as a child were just like
Chill.
not it. They were lies masquerading as the truth.
Yeah.
Or like half partial truths, like drugs are bad, or
Right. Or you're not enough.
sure, yeah, or like you gotta be quiet. And sometimes you can't be if you're silent, and like people who are hurting you can get away with it because you're not saying anything or acknowledging that. Talk around the thing. To talk around the Jeffrey Epstein people versus not just being able to say it out loud. Yeah,
that was and that's what's so powerful about art too. Is like, did you listen to Kendrick Lamar's big Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers?
No,
His
is
new
that
album?
recent?
Yeah, his newest album is so good because he's talking about exactly that. His whole album is themed around tap dancing around the conversation.
Oh, really?
He has these interludes where you'll just hear tap dancing like
Nice.
and it'll be like and it'll be like the first part of the first album is just like, I've been going through something. His wife is like, you gotta tell him the truth, and then it's like tappity tappity tap. He's like, I've been going through something. I've been going through 1,085 days. I've been going through something.
Well, that's only like 3 years and some change.
It's so deep, dude, because he's talking about exactly that. And it's scary now at a point in technology where we're able to spread such incredible messages at such rates, and then have, such specific things being delivered to specific areas and social groups and like levels of consciousness. It's like it's all being influenced so greatly, so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
The internet being the most important tool in history and the most destructive weapon because of where it's going. Mm-hmm. I think I'm trying to wrap around back to the question of where I want to take it.
Right.
Is because it's being taken in the self-service way.
Mm-hmm.
It's being taken in the way of ultimate ego,
Sure.
That's also what Kendrick Lamar, though, having tried to expose the system his whole career, nobody has really latched onto that. But he's the whole time, he's from from Project 80 to, you know what I mean, to Pimp a Butterfly, and now to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. It's just like that. All of those projects were his direct experience with systemic corruption in his life, and then having success and realizing the corruption goes up the ladder,
right? And
then ultimately what to do with the influence when being told that you need to endorse corruption, basically.
Play the game.
You need to play the game,
the
or
way
else,
that corrupt people want you to play
exactly,
it, so
or
that
else
they can
you're out.
stay. Yeah.
And dude, oh my god, his song he dropped before Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, he dropped a song called, it's The Heart Part 5. He has a series of songs called The Heart, from 1 to 5, and it's before every single album he's ever dropped. He's dropped a song called The Heart.
Jesus.
And it's incredible, dude. His whole career is like mind blowing.
See, I almost feel bad for being ignorant about it because the only Kendrick Lamar song that I know off the top of my head, or slightly by heart, is First Things First. It's not The Realist. What the fuck does he say? It's song about like his No Role Models. That's the song that I know. That's like Kendrick Lamar. When I think of Kendrick Lamar, that's the song I know by him.
It's the older one, I think.
Yeah, probably is, because I'm not surprised that the information people are supposed to be telling me the truth, or like elucidating interesting things like that, or I'm just like shoving it, hiding it, not exposing it, or just not taking it upon myself to just like dig into it and try to figure out what this guy's been about, because I've heard that he's extremely talented. Like,
but what a perfect one song for you to have remembered, because the title being No Role Models, it's like that's exactly what dictates the future.
Exactly.
And so him being in the most prevalent position of role model from young to old, you know what I'm saying, for people all across the most influential country in the world right now, which is America, which is specifically California, specifically LA to the Bay. You know what I mean? The most influential places in the entire world, hands down.
Right.
Nothing even compares or comes close.
Yeah,
except for the Vatican, you know what I mean? Who runs the drug and, you know, pedophilia across the world, but that's another conversation.
Yeah, I got a bit about that I'm like, I'll just say it now, even though I'm like not doing stand-up comedy. It's like, you guys ever noticed the comparison between the KKK and the Catholic Church? They both love pointy hats. And one of the two groups helped launder the Nazi money during World War II, and the other group wished they could have. And then the third one is like they both got a hard on for BDSM Jesus. It's like the Catholics, the Burning Cross, the KKK, and the Catholics are never like depicting him doing anything, like not feeding homeless or talking to prostitutes. It's always like him going through the fucking crucifixion.
Yeah, just pure torture.
Yeah, dude. That's like, could you make it any more like on the nose of what you're really about? Like,
right.
God damn it, dude.
That's so funny, man. And that totally that's hilarious. I didn't even realize until you said that a few things. That's awesome. Yeah, exactly. But no more influential place than here, other than that. And so, being the most influential person in the most influential place in the world, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna have some system builders who have the system set up in a certain way, being in your ear, talking about, you know, you got to be saying this thing, you know what I mean? You got to be talking about this thing.
The messaging and the narrative of like, we want you
subliminal type. This is what's going to direct the behavior towards back into the system, the self-feeding system, the egoic system, and that's what his song "Count Me Out" is all about on his new album. It's, if you watch the video, it's actually really powerful, talking all about Satan, talking all about ego. You know, he has a line, he says, he's basically like, ego is Lord, serving God, like, I don't know, I forget what he was saying, but he was basically just saying, my ego is my Lord, you know what I mean? And that is the system, that's what is being put in place, and that is the energy of stuckness. That's the energy of not freedom. That's the energy of slavery. It's the opposite of freedom. Right. It's like keeping things the way they are, keeping things the way that certain people want them to be in order to be continually self-serving, because being self-serving is the God that they serve. Right. You know, there is no deity called Satan. Satan is an idea of serving yourself, of being selfish. That's what Satanism is.
Hedonism with no redeeming redemption at all.
Nothing even worshiping outside of yourself other than yourself. Right. People think of it as like they, you know, devil worshippers say, it's like, that's not what it is. It's most people are Satanists, and they don't even understand that they're Satanists, because they wake up thinking about themselves and they go to sleep thinking about themselves. No better definition of a Satanist. So when we're talking about a system put in place to aid and abet self-service, you know what I mean? Right. And then the influence of an art form coming about like hip-hop that is the opposite of self-service. Hip-hop is all about taking a little from here, taking a little from there, taking a little from behind you, from under you, from over you, and it's all combining it into one, giving everything their spot in the light that didn't get to see the light of day in its fullness, like things, you hear deep cuts, deep samples from certain albums and artists that never really got their due, you know what I mean? But we're very talented and we're like, should have been more, recognized. So hip hop takes that, flips it, resamples it, and you hear that sample in the song, you're like, damn, what is that? Where does that come from?
Exactly, right? Like, there's so many songs. I'm thinking of this Sam Hunt song where he, like, I don't even know what the song is called, but it's just like he sampled this like old other song, and I'm like, where the fuck did these vocals come from? Like, this is so good, and then you listen to it, and you're like, oh my god, like this is not. It's similar, but so totally different. Like, because that's like I would argue or say that like Sam Hunt is more of like a hip hop or pop country artist than like pure like cowboy sad boy country music thing. But
and that's the other thing is so many different music genres have been totally changed now, because hip-hop has become the new rock and roll,
right?
But it's for the better, because they're taking stuff from from here and there. It's like they're sampling everything and putting out into the light of day so it can be recognized again. And that's the opposite of self-service. That's putting everything and saying, here's what made me, you know what I mean?
Right.
Here's what I love to listen to that you guys probably have never heard of, and if you have, like let's celebrate them, right? It's like when a song comes on that's like Parliament Funkadelic's like Dog, you know what I mean? It's like everybody's like, ooh, I love Parliament, you know what I mean? But it's a remix from this guy, but he's putting them on, you know what I'm saying? He's putting them back onto Parliament.
Right.
So it's the opposite of self-service. It's always putting somebody else, saying, here, the light, it's not me, it's them.
Right.
They're the one who made my light shine as bright as it can be.
For sure, man.
Whereas the opposite is, you know what I'm saying? So being in the most influential place, doing the most influential music is where I want to be.
All right, man.
You know?
On that token, what influenced you, like, I would assume Kendrick Lamar, besides Kendrick Lamar, but what do you consider, like, powerful influences in your life? Or, like, when you were growing up listening to, like, what was the first couple earworms that got in there? Or just, like, what do you feel like as you developed as an artist? Or you're like, yo, this guy fucking mentored me and totally changed my perspective? Or, like, anything. I take it how you will, but just because you're like, influence. I'm like, oh, dog, like, all right, here's the next question then.
Yeah. Well, how much time do we have left? I don't want to.
No, bro, you're good. We got at least
5
more minutes.
I could list shit for like a half hour, but I'll try and keep it brief. So from Jay Dilla to Slim Shady to Biggie Smalls to Mos Def, Talib Kweli and Black Star to Madlib to Dr. Dre to Q-Tip and Tribe Called Quest. From Busta Rhymes to 50 Cent, you know what I'm saying? To Rakim, to KRS-One. Shout out KRS-One. One of my biggest influences ever. Salt and Pepper to Tupac, Big Pun, Tyler the Creator, and all the new school to, you know what I mean? There are just so many people, bro. I mean, it's crazy the amount of influence that I've had in my life from hip-hop because I didn't listen to the mainstream. Because I didn't listen to the mainstream, I was like really digging into things that, where it came from. And because I was being raised by somebody who was all about the weirdest, like Cool Keith and like Dr. Octagon and the most weird, like underground, like experimental, like, around the corner and, down the dark alleyway type music, you know what I'm saying? Or like Brother Lynch Hung, you know what I mean?
Sure, no I don't.
Like
but
CeeLo to Goody Mob to Outkast to, I can't forget the South, you know what I'm saying? Big Crit. There's so many influences. Anderson .Paak, yeah, it's just like, I love good music, but it started with loving good hip-hop.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, when I was just angsty little kid, like, all I wanted to listen to was, like, Eminem, because he was just, speaking of white boys like me, that's what I'm talking about though when I talk about influences. Like, that dude influenced a generation of white people harder, well, just of people in general, but specifically, you know, for white kids like me growing up in the early 2000s, more than anybody could have or will, you know? Because there's nothing that is going to stick into my ear as much as, you know, Slim Shady, you know, brain dead like Jim Brady. I'm an M80. You little like that Kim lady. I'm bugging. No, dirty doesn't naughty rotten rama. It's like that shit is with me till the grave, bro, and there's nothing ever gonna be like that again. So that type of power and influence is monumental. It's like, if you want to guide where things are gonna go, you gotta guide what things are happening now to make them go there.
Mm-hmm.
And so those influences I want to just continue to be inspired by.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like there's a lot of, I always look at, like, you know, the beginnings of like a Kendrick Lamar or a Biggie Smalls or a Tupac or a Slim Shady, and it's crazy because you listen to their like very, very first songs ever,
mm-hmm.
and they sound like the rappers that they were influenced by, like directly. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Tupac sounding like, you know, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, and, you know, Eminem just sounded like Tretch. You know what I mean? And, you know, Biggie was pretty damn unique, but, you know, it's like all these people were just grabbing from their influences. And, you know, now I'm 26. I've been making music since I was 9, so I've been making music for a while. Mm-hmm. So it's, you know, I'm past that point, but I'm also still not, you know.
No, they don't really leave you. You just subconscious kind of like puts them farther back in the closet, but eventually you remember to pull from the stuff that like really resonates with your heart.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and putting your whole life into something, you know what I mean?
For sure.
It quickly develops. So when I did put my whole life into music, which, you know what I mean, which there was a time where I did, and then I fell off and I didn't for a long time.
Yeah.
And now I'm coming back into that point where I'm putting my whole life into it again.
So when you say it that way, do you feel like, I guess almost would you describe yourself as a musician, but then also is it like, are you career, quote unquote, or just like you feel like it's your calling, or also in a way kind of the next thing I want to talk about too is like, do you feel like you have some type of muse that like calls to you and like tells you and gives you creative inspiration that's like kind of separate from the seeing where you want to be in the future related to your music and your process of developing as an artist?
Yeah, so what was the first question was?
Because you had said something about putting your whole life into your music.
So, do I consider myself a musician? Is that what you said?
That was just the clarifying question. I probably should have just like done them piece by piece instead of trying to link so many things together.
No, you good. I just wanted to make sure where we're starting. Yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, I love music. I don't think rappers should consider themselves musicians because they're not. They're poets.
Right.
I don't think, you know, DJs should consider themselves musicians because they're not. You know what I mean? They just like
remix.
They just have good ears. You know.
Yeah.
They're just selectas is what the actual term for it is. It's a selecta.
I'm glad that you gave me that word.
Selecta, yeah. It's somebody who selects out the good tune.
Yeah.
The good groove.
I'm gonna be debating with people for many people that I meet in the future. I'm gonna be like, dude, you're just a selecta dog. You're not a musician.
And that's facts. And people will be like, no, I'm a musician. It's like, no, you're fucking not. Play one instrument.
Right? What instrument do you play, dog?
Yeah, play one.
That isn't
instrument.
a fucking beat pad only.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's like, you can't call yourself a bodybuilder unless you're really in the gym every day.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But even if you And that's where I'm at. Is I can't fucking like slap the bass like, you know, Les Claypool, but I can fucking get on there and write a bass line if I sit down with it enough, and you know what I mean. I'm in here every day on my piano and on my drum pad. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, do I call myself a musician? Yes, because I'm in this bitch every day. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like somebody who wants to be a bodybuilder will be in the gym every day. You can call yourself a bodybuilder if you're building your body. You know what I'm saying?
Got the dedication to match what you're saying.
Yeah. And I like all facets, so it's not like, you know, it's like I'm a true hip hopper. I'm not a rapper. I'm not a producer. You know, I am hip hop. That's, as Mose Def would say, he would say in his intro song on Black on Both Sides, he said, you know, hip hop isn't some giant living in the hills. It's like hip hop is the people. It's like if you want to know how hip hop is doing, ask yourself, how am I doing?
How they am.
You know?
I love how like beautiful and philosophical that is, but like put in a medium that's more accessible than some type of like Nietzsche book or fucking...
That's what I'm saying,
yeah,
dog.
Yeah.
That's literally... Bro, it's changing the communication, bro.
Dude, for sure, man. Distilling in a different context is like so crucial. That, and then also making it digestible and relatable. Yeah.
So relatable.
So
relatable.
Yeah.
That's what's happening with you right now. Then you're like, oh, I'm feeling if the people are smoked out, hip hop's gonna be smoked out. It's like, all right, that's where I'm at is where it's at. I understand. It's just a reflection.
Where are we? Where are we?
Tripping.
I love this. So I could try to keep churning through this stuff, bro. What you were talking about just felt like so. So I'll try to like say like how I was like interpreting it or how it was moving through me, and maybe it'll kind of like link back up with what you were fucking spitting on.
Yeah.
That like how you were saying that you were living it and doing it every day, and how like for me it hits some part of like the uncertainty of that, like you know why you're doing it, like you have the burning and desire and intentions in your heart to like make it happen. You just don't know how or how the future is gonna like manifest with it. So I kind of imagine, especially with like the stuff I want to like go to the Amazon and like become a shaman, that like I know why I'm doing it. I don't know who I'm gonna meet along the way or where I'm exactly gonna go in Peru or Colombia, or meet the people who are gonna like help me accomplish this, become this person. Hopefully, God is willing. I don't actually like know. It's like slightly terrifying to have to say that out loud. That I want to do this thing, but I don't know if there's gonna be people that are actually gonna like want me to do it. Like going against the grain of like different cultures and being like, your skin color's wrong, guy, and like you talk different than us, like why are you trying to do this? But like I gotta come because I want to go down there, learn the magic, and bring it back up here because people up here need it. I'll try to fucking change the world, to change myself enough to stomach changing the world, because it's gonna be a lot of trying to unplug people from the matrix and doing it through music and everything. But that is to say, that person in the future that I want to be, somehow, I guess in your mind, you're saying, or does it like make sense that like that artist of your future self, like to the hip hop person, is that like what you're not certain about?
Oh, I'm certain.
Okay.
I'm certain, like Shiloh is certain that there's something out there, which there probably isn't.
Right.
But I'm gonna go for it either way. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I forgot to mention MF Doom. He's one of my greatest influences as well.
He's right there.
Yeah, Madlib and MF Doom were, yeah. So I just can't go on without saying MF Doom's name, because he's one of my favorites of all time too. Yeah, I'm not certain of anything. I think where I was going with that, you know, who influenced me sounded like their influence, and that's who I'm sounding like. You know, now it's like when you put your full life into something. You put your whole life into something, it develops very quickly. Mm-hmm. And so, even though I've been doing it a long time, I haven't put my full life into it, you know? So I'm not like Schwarzenegger, you know?
Sure.
But I'm still a bodybuilder, you know what I'm saying?
Right, okay.
So it's like I'm still in the gym now every day. I'm putting myself into it, though I'm a little older, right. And it's harder to break and reform patterns, especially of speech. but mostly of action and behavior as you get older.
Right.
To tie it back to our first like couple sentences we were exchanging in the beginning, that the more I grow and develop in my musicianship, in my artistry, the more I will be more unique so as to be relatable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The neuroplasticity kind of thing is what you were more speaking on, I guess. Yeah.
So it's all about the influence.
It's all about the influence. Do you feel like you have a muse?
Yeah.
How would you describe your relationship with your muse, or do you feel like it's an actual person, or like I can tell my whole like silly story about the ways that the muses communicated with me through my dreams, or if you want me to go into it or not, but I'm just curious because a lot of people I talk to, the ones that when I have talked to them, it doesn't seem like it's been exactly the same or similar in any way. So I'm just curious what your relationship with your muse is.
It's pretty direct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thankfully, I got to on a LSD trip. I got to meet sound itself.
Shit, dude, dope.
Yeah, her name's E-Song.
God bless your heart, dude. God bless your heart. I haven't even asked her fucking name. What a dick, bro. Oh my god, that's hilarious. I should ask her what the fuck her name is.
She introduced herself to me, man. I was very humbled. And then I was like, oh, I know who you are. She was Big Blue. Can I tell the story?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so I was on a LSD trip, high as hell, man, with Cassiopeia.
Mm-hmm.
And she was doing a sound healing.
Oh, nice.
And I was up all night. I was off a second tab, you know what I'm saying?
Was this around here?
This is up in Middletown.
Okay.
Up at the, it's like a Hindu campground sanctuary for...
I'm not going to even say the name. I don't want anybody in trouble with Canadian story.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's anyway, we were just up all night, second tab. I'm just, I'm like coming around the thing. I was trying to see what's going on, and the homie said there's a sound healing. I'm like, all right, let's go. So I walk into the room. I like see Cassiopeia, and I'm like, oh my god, you are a goddess right off the bat. I already knew.
Neptunian magic woman.
Oh my god, it's super alien space mermaid. So I'm like, okay, let's get this going. I know it's gonna be special. I help her set up the thing. She's like, go lay down. I go lay down, and mind you, it's cold as hell up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the mountains of North California, so it's like really. It's kind of like almost snow on the ground in the morning. It's like 5 in the morning. The sun hasn't even peeked out through the mountain yet. So I got jackets on. I got multiple layers of jackets on with the big coat. The one I pull out when it's really cold and I want to look good too. And so I'm laying down, in all these layers of coats, you know what I mean? And I got my hat on, and it's kind of warm in the room, warmer than outside being freezing. And I'm laying down, and I'm really, really high. But I like relax in, and the sound starts to go, the shakers and the and the little bells, and like there's like birds going over. I'm like, wow, this is nice. And I start to have this thought, and and then I think about my mom, and then I had this whole really deep epiphany about my mom and my relationship with my mom, and how it was really damaged, you know what I mean, and how I could heal that, you know what I mean? And I started crying, I started bawling, and tears started coming down my face, and I think Cassiopeia, somebody recognized because they came and fanned me, and I was like really grateful. I was like super grateful that I could realize that and let that go, and have people around me recognize and help me out with that process. And I was like, oh man, thank you. And so I was just in this state of gratitude, right? After I had that whole epiphany, I was just, tears coming down. I was like really happy, you know what I mean? And I was in gratitude, and then somebody hit the gong. They hit the gong like, once, and I was like, whoa. And then they hit the gong again, and I was like, oh snap, here we go. And they were hitting the gong again and again and again. It was getting louder and louder, and as it got louder, I started to hear things like auditory hallucinations. Mm-hmm. Like at first I heard like people laughing and talking, even though everybody was silent in the room, and I was like, that's weird. And then I heard people screaming and yelling and like getting loud and like in a big crowd in a big coliseum, and I was like, whoa, this is really strange. And then I heard it got so loud, the gong started getting so loud that zombies came out of the fucking ground, started in my ears, dude. I heard my ancestors come up out of the ground, and I was like, we're going somewhere, you know what I mean? I was like, I just relaxed into it. I wasn't scared. I realized that they were my ancestors, that they were here to guide me. And so I just I was just had my eyes closed, and I relaxed, and I took a breath out, and all of a sudden I was somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I like arrived, and I looked around, and I saw this giant Kuan Yin looking figure against a dark blue hue of night sky.
Mm-hmm.
And she was dark blue. And in the distance to my right was an emanation of light. It's like light rays, which she wasn't looking directly at. She wasn't looking directly at the light. She was looking in her own space as to focus.
Mm-hmm.
And in a meditative position, and she was gigantic, like beyond description gigantic. And I was just looking, and I recognized who she was. I was like, oh wow, like that sound, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is my guide, And she swung her bitch, and I realized she was stoned. She swung her big stone head around and looked me right in my eye, dude. Right here, her pupil was as big as a whole 10-story house, you know what I mean? Just to show me how small I was.
Right.
And I was
in
like,
human form.
And my heart the whole time, dude, was just thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know what I mean? Just ultimate gratitude. And she looked at me and she was like, I like you, She said, I like you. I was like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And she turned her big stone head back around and fucking focused and meditated right back into it. And she like telepathically was just like, you want to meet my sister? You know what I mean? I was like, yeah. And then flip side, I met her sister. Her sister's name is Kara. So her name is Isan, right? Isan, I-S-O-N, like I am the sun.
Mm-hmm.
I am the sun. Like I am the light. I am the sun. She is sound. Sound, vibration, frequency is what comes before the emanation of light.
Mm-hmm.
There is a stepwise progression. It's sound first, and then that sound vibrates enough for heat and light to emit from it. So sound is the basis of reality itself, vibration. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So Isan, that's what I recognized her in the name. She introduced herself to me. I was like, oh, I see you. I see what you are. She appreciated that, so she sent me to her sister. And her sister, Ka-Ra, right? Break that down. Ka is like a bird's message, and then Ra is like the sun god, right? Ra is like the messenger of the sun.
Right.
So it's not the sun itself, but it is the emanation, right? It's like the heat you feel. It's like the light that you see. It's not the actual light, you know what I mean? It's like you can't see yourself, you know what I mean? But other people see you.
Right.
So it's like I am Isan to myself, but then I am Ka-Ra to other people, you understand? So it's the two different aspects of sound. It is what it actually is, and it's how it's being projected. And Ka-Ra was adorned in a white background, right? So Isan was in I misrepresented the description. It was a black background, and she was dark blue like the night sky. Whenever you see the night sky and it's twilight right before the sun goes down, in that dark blue state, that's her skin, right? And then Ka-Ra, on the opposite side, was in a completely white background with a black robe on, about the size of a small grandmother, with a black, flowing robe, and she was standing there like an old Irish witch, with her hood on, and she had one eye, her left eye was missing, and in it was a chunk of orange glowing rock, and she was looking at me. You know what I mean? And I was looking at her like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, you know what I mean? And she didn't give a shit, She didn't give a fuck, dude. She was like, she's been trying to tell people, for millennia, what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
And people have been stoning her to death, basically.
Right.
She is the Jesus figure, you know what I mean, that came to bring the message. She is the, Muhammad figure. She is the Buddha figure who's come to try and speak the message, you know what I mean?
Prophet.
And people have just, the prophet, exactly.
Yeah.
And people string her up. And she has to endure the torture of people's misinterpretations because she's like the guardian of Isan. She's like what you need to understand before you can come to Isan, before you can come to see the actual light. And she looked at me like she didn't give a shit. And her message to me was, do it.
Do it.
Yeah. Her message to me was, don't say it, do it. Yeah. And so I was just like, thank you, Right. She was like, do it. And I was like, thank you. And she was like, that made her smile, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so after that, boom, I got sent right back to my body. And I woke up and there, no more gong happening, but this a little meditation still going on, and it's kind of cute and quiet, and I realized what just happened to me. Nothing like this has ever happened to me before in my life, so I got back into my body, and I was like, that just really happened.
Right,
and so I had to stand up and go outside and take a breath of crisp, fresh, frozen air to get me back into reality.
Right. I'm on this plane of existence now.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, like what did that just seriously happen,
Yep.
So speaking of muses, Isan is mine. Isan.
Goddamn. Well, before I go to bed tonight, I'm gonna ask my muse, hey, could you tell me your name? Because I realized how uncouth and rude it was of me to not ask after all of the shit that you've given to me.
Yeah.
I always experience it as like ringing, which is totally scientifically, people could be like, it's just tinnitus, dog. But I'm like, dude, it's not all the time, and it's like so specifically, like it's sending me information, this ringing in my ears, it's like beyond thought and beyond lights, like sound, this like whatever vibratory thing that is like he's literally giving me, like in my dreams when I'm as I'm coming out of the dream state into the fucking waking consciousness, and just I like an entire song just like laid out in front of me, like it's crazy, bro. It's so crazy. It's so powerful to transmute those emotions in that way through like this other thing like moving through me that's like not me, but people are like, oh dude, you like made this thing. I'm like, it wasn't me, I was just a vessel.
That's hip hop.
I'm just the vessel, dog. Like, say that about ayahuasca too. Like people are like, oh, you're so healed, you're so fucking like you hold the space so well. I'm like, I'm just the vessel, dude. I'm just doing what she told me to do. She said I could be a shaman, so I'm like, I'm all in on that. I'm doing it. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Really fucking hard.
And that's why hip hop is so important. KRS once said hip hop is gonna save the world through peace, love, unity, and fuck the police. That's the 4 tenets of hip hop.
Jesus.
Peace, love, unity, and fuck the police.
Very close to plur. I think it's like peace, love, and
peace, love, unity,
and respect or something.
Pluff.
Pluff, dude. I'm gonna take that one too. Plur and pluff. That's amazing. All right, so I think we're pretty much time with the taking the stuff out, like the edits and things I'm gonna make. So the last question, if you can keep it kind of short, but also like stay on.
I went by quick.
Oh, dude, it's when you're doing this and you're having fun, you don't even like realize, like you like look at the clock and like, oh shit, like I'm fucking like not even in the frame, and I know, and I don't even fucking care.
Yeah.
But the way that I like to end these is like, God and God's willing, if we were to hit end the thing, end the record button. Sorry, doc, and have aneurysms and just bite the dust and be as was our last moments on Earth. Like, what nugget of fucking ooey gooey amazingness, wisdom would you want to transmit to all the brains on the planet simultaneously? Like, if you got your like 30 seconds or 60 seconds to like lay it out for the people of like, what would you want to tell everyone?
Here we go. Knowledge is not about knowing new things, but is about realizing things are already known. So coming to research something, research is to re-find, is to rediscover, to research, to search again. Respect is to see again. Respect yourself, and you will find again the knowledge that has already been found. You're reminding yourself, or you're remembering. To remember something is to take a member that has fallen off of you, or a piece of you that was left behind, and to remember yourself. So it's to bring yourself back together, right? Don't believe in knowledge. You're doing life a disservice if you're believing anything. Believe means to belie, which is to falsely represent, and Eve in the Hebrew language means life. Falsely representing life by believing anything is doing a disservice to life and your relationship and yourself with life. So just know what's going on, know yourself, respect yourself, re-see yourself, and don't believe anything because it's not necessary. Don't believe in yourself. Fuck believing in yourself. Know yourself. Definitively. Know yourself.
I will say this time around, you're enough, and that you don't need to believe it. You just have to know it and do it and allow yourself to stumble and fall if need be, because no one is born with a knowledge of walking or running, but you never see anyone give up. Everybody learns how to do it eventually, unless obviously they are physically incapable of doing it. That's our time. That's what we're going to end on. Like and subscribe. If you made it this far, I don't fucking know. Comment a question, and maybe I'll answer it or do it in the next iris of my eye. I'll acknowledge comments and things in that nature and talk about them, because it boggles my mind that anybody is watching it or loving it or involved in the life-changing work that I'm trying to do through raising consciousness, through talking about art. That's it. Doses.